There's a specific kind of clarity that comes when you realize you've been preparing for a conversation your entire life without knowing it. I had that clarity sitting at a $10,000 dining table, watching my mother's hand shake as she opened an envelope. Not because I was nervous. Because I had finally stopped being convenient. My name is Claire Ashford. I got married on a Thursday afternoon in May. City Hall, second floor, judges' chambers that smelled like old carpet and budget coffee. I wore a linen dress I found at a consignment shop for $63. My best friend Jordan held a bouquet she'd grabbed from the bodega 2 blocks over, carnations and something green she couldn't name. The ceremony lasted 9 minutes. We took photos on the steps outside, where a stranger offered to take one of all 3 of us. Jordan cried through the whole thing. I didn't. Not because I wasn't happy. Because I had learned a long time ago that crying required an audience that cared. That same Thursday, 200 miles north, my entire extended family, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, my grandmother, attended my sister Vanessa's engagement party. Catered, live music, signature cocktails. Vanessa was 29, I was 34. The party had been scheduled for months. So had my wedding. I need you to understand something. I didn't tell them to choose. I sent the invitations 8 weeks early, cream cardstock, my own handwriting, 37 of them. Every single response came back the same. Can't make it, Vanessa's party is that day. Wish we could be 2 places at once. You understand, right? You've always been understanding. 3 people called my mother to ask if I'd be willing to move the date. Not one person called me. The Ashford family operated on a system I understood before I had language for it. Vanessa was the sun. My younger brother Oliver was the moon. I was atmospheric pressure, necessary for the system to function, invisible until something went wrong. My parents divorced when I was 9. Dad remarried within a year, moved to Arizona with a woman named Kelly who wore turquoise jewelry and talked about energy fields. He sent Christmas cards for a while. Then he didn't. Mom never said it was my fault. She didn't have to. You have his eyes, she'd say when I disappointed her, same stubborn look. Vanessa inherited everything our mother valued. Presence, charm, the ability to make a room feel like it revolved around her. I inherited the ability to not need things. It wasn't a skill I chose. It was survival dressed up as maturity. Mom forgot my 14th birthday. Remembered 2 days later when she found the calendar reminder. She apologized while Vanessa practiced a monologue in the background for a school play. I've been so busy with Vanessa's rehearsals, you know how it is. I did know. I knew that being competent was the fastest way to become invisible in a house where need equaled attention. So I stopped needing. Left for college at 18 with a partial scholarship and everything I owned in 2 duffel bags. Nobody helped me move in. I worked campus IT during the week, waited tables on weekends. Graduated with a degree in software engineering and 0 debt. Got hired at a mid-sized firm within 6 weeks. I was good at building things quietly. It was the only skill my family ever taught me. I met Daniel Cole at a professional conference in Nashville. He was giving a presentation on database architecture. I was in the back row answering work emails. Afterward, he asked if his talk had been boring. I told him his data models needed optimization. He laughed. We went for coffee. Daniel grew up in a stable home in Minnesota, 2 parents, a dog, Sunday dinners that people actually attended. When I described my family, he didn't try to fix it. He didn't say, I'm sure they love you, or families are complicated. He said, that sounds lonely. It was the first time anyone had named it correctly. On our 7th date, after I'd laid out the full operational dysfunction of the Ashford family system, he said 5 words I'd never heard before. You deserved better than that. Not as comfort. As fact. I believed him because he had no reason to lie. Daniel proposed in February. A walk along the waterfront, a simple ring, a question I answered before he finished asking. We set the date, May 16th. I called my mother. Mom, Daniel and I are getting married, May 16th, I'm sending invitations next week. Pause. That's wonderful, honey. Listen, Vanessa just booked her engagement party, same weekend, I think, but I'm sure we can work it out. I didn't ask her to work it out. I just sent the invitations. 37 cream-colored cards. Handwritten addresses. RSVP by April 10th. 2 weeks after I mailed them, Vanessa posted on social media. Her engagement party, May 16th, calligraphy invitations, string quartet, custom cocktail menu. Cannot wait to celebrate with everyone we love. I stared at the post for a long time. Then I called my mother. Vanessa's party is the same day as my wedding. I know, sweetheart, but her venue only had that one date available, and she put the deposit down months ago. You're flexible. You've always been flexible. I sent invitations 8 weeks ago. I know, but this is Vanessa's engagement. It's a big deal. So is my wedding. Silence. Claire, don't make this difficult. I wasn't making anything difficult. I had simply assumed I mattered enough to be considered. That assumption, it turned out, was the problem. The RSVPs came back over the next 3 weeks. 37 sent. 37 returned. Not one yes. Aunt Monica, we'll be at Vanessa's party, it's been planned forever, you understand. Uncle Greg, wish we could make it work. Cousin Sarah, Mom said you were moving the date anyway? I read that one twice. Moving the date. I called Aunt Monica. Who told you I was moving my wedding? A pause. Your mother mentioned it. She said there was a conflict and you were going to reschedule. I hung up. My mother had called the family and told them my wedding wasn't happening. Not that there was a conflict. That it wasn't happening. I sat at my kitchen table with the stack of 37 cards. Every single one a polite declination. Every single one a confirmation of something I'd known my whole life but had never let myself say out loud. I was optional. Jordan was the only person who RSVP'd yes. She didn't wait for the card. She called the day I told her the date and said, "What should I wear?" Daniel came home that night and found me on the couch, staring at the pile of envelopes. He sat down. Read one. Set it down. What do you want to do? Not, we should cancel. Not, I'll talk to them. Just the question that mattered. I want to marry you on May 16th, I don't care where. Then we do it on May 16th. He pulled me into his shoulder. We stayed like that for a while. The envelope sat on the coffee table like evidence. Daniel's phone buzzed around 10. His business partner, Marcus. I could hear pieces of the conversation. Something about paperwork, filings, timelines. Daniel stepped into the bedroom. When he came back, he looked tired and electric at the same time. Everything okay? I asked. Yeah, Marcus says the acquisition's moving forward, maybe 6 weeks. Acquisition? He smiled, the kind that holds a secret. I'll tell you when it's final. Right now, let's just focus on getting married. I didn't press. Daniel didn't make promises he couldn't keep. And I'd learned a long time ago that words only mattered when they came from people who meant them. I stood in front of the mirror in a $63 dress. Daniel wore the charcoal suit he'd bought for client meetings. Jordan arrived with the bodega bouquet, already crying. You look beautiful. It's City Hall, Jordan. It's your wedding. She was right. The judge's chambers smelled like ink and old coffee. Fluorescent lights, plastic chairs. The ceremony lasted 9 minutes. At 2:14 in the afternoon, I became Claire Cole. Jordan cried the entire time. I didn't. We took photos on the courthouse steps. A stranger offered to take one of all 3 of us. I still have it framed in our bedroom. 3 people. One of them sobbing. One of them smiling like he'd just won something. And me, looking directly at the camera, calm and certain. It was the best afternoon of my life. That evening, I checked social media. Vanessa's engagement party was in full swing. String lights, champagne tower, a 3-tier cake. My mother had given a toast. I saw the video. To my brilliant, beautiful daughter, the heart of this family. I closed the app. I didn't post anything about my wedding. There was nobody left to tell. I woke up at 6:30. Daniel was already gone, early meeting about the acquisition. I checked my phone. 0 messages from my family. The family group chat had one new post from the night before. A photo of Vanessa's cake. Caption, what a night, so grateful. 43 people had celebrated my sister's engagement party. 0 people from my family acknowledged that I got married. I stared at that photo for a long time. Not with anger. With clarity. I opened my laptop. Created a new document. Titled it, Boundary Statement. I didn't know the exact wording yet. I just knew I needed it to exist. Something formal. Something that said, in writing, what I'd been too afraid to say for 34 years. I am not your backup plan. 7 weeks later, everything changed. Daniel's company, the software firm he'd co-founded 4 years earlier, was acquired by a major tech conglomerate. The deal closed on a Tuesday. Total acquisition, $72 million. Daniel, as co-founder and CTO, held 11% equity. On paper, by market close, his stake was worth just under $8 million. I had been employee number 9. I held a smaller equity position. Not millions. But enough to change everything. The office erupted. People cheered, hugged, took photos with the announcement on the break room screen. Marcus popped champagne. Daniel found me at my desk. It's real. I know. What do you want to do tonight? I thought about it. Take out, our apartment, just us. He smiled. Perfect. The article went live 4 days later. A regional business journal ran a feature. Local startup acquired for $72 million, meet the team behind the deal. Daniel's photo, full name, title, equity stake. A former colleague shared it on LinkedIn. Then someone tagged him on Facebook. Then the family group chat I'd muted on May 17th lit up. Vanessa posted the article first. Screenshot, no caption. Just the link. Aunt Monica, wait, is this Claire's husband? Uncle Greg, holy shit. Oliver, 3 moneybag emojis. Mom, let me call her. I watched the messages scroll. 47 messages in 2 hours. Not one of them said congratulations. Not one of them said, how are you? They went from zero contact to full financial interest in the time it took to read a business article. My phone rang. Mom. Then again. Then a third time. I let it ring. On the 5th call, I answered. Claire, sweetheart. That word. She hadn't used it in years. Hi, Mom. How are you, honey? I've been meaning to call. Things have just been so hectic. She didn't mention the wedding she missed. She didn't mention the invitations. She skipped straight past all of it. I saw something online about Daniel's company. That's wonderful. I always knew you'd do well. She had never said that before. Not once. Mom, why are you calling? Pause. The kind that has rehearsal in it. Actually, sweetheart, I need to talk to you about something. Oliver's been having some trouble, financial trouble. Can we meet? Somewhere we can sit down as a family. I let the silence hold. When? This weekend? Your place? We're moving soon. I'll send you the new address. Moving? Where? You'll see. I gave her a date and a time. Then I hung up. She'd called me sweetheart 3 times in 90 seconds. The last time she used that word, I was 12 and she needed me to watch Oliver so she could go to Vanessa's dance recital. Nothing had changed. Except now, I was ready. We closed on the house 9 days after the acquisition. 4.2 million. Modern build, 3 acres, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a valley. 6 bedrooms. We'd been living in a 1-bedroom apartment for 5 years, saving 70% of our income. The numbers worked because we'd planned them. I walked through the empty house the first day. Sunlight on hardwood. My footsteps echoing. Before any furniture arrived, I hung one thing. The marriage certificate. Simple black frame. Right inside the front door. Eye level. Anyone who walked in would see it first. $63 dress. Bodega flowers. 9-minute ceremony. And a piece of paper that cost $18 to file. The most important thing in a $4 million house. 2 days before the family meeting, Jordan sent me a link. You need to see this. No context. It led to a forum. Online sports betting. Anonymous handles. Jordan's a data analyst. She tracked Oliver's username through a chain of digital breadcrumbs. His post history was a timeline of debt. He owed money to 4 different platforms. Had borrowed from Mom, Vanessa, our grandmother, 2 college friends. Total, $230,000. But one post stopped me. Dated May 16th. My wedding day. Sister just married some startup guy. Once that money clears, I'm good. I read it 3 times. While I was standing in a judge's chamber saying vows, my brother was on the internet calculating what my marriage was worth to him. I screenshotted everything. Saved it to a folder labeled, Family Meeting. Then I printed the May 16th post, slid it into an envelope next to the boundary statement my lawyer had drafted. Evidence and boundary. Side by side. Saturday morning. Furniture arrived at 8. By 11, the house looked lived in. I dressed in a navy blazer, white blouse, dark pants. The kind of outfit you wear when you want to be taken seriously and nothing else. I set the table. 4 envelopes. White, printed names. 1 at each place setting. Then I placed the folder with Oliver's forum posts next to my seat. Daniel came downstairs. Looked at the table, looked at me. Want me to stay? Stay upstairs, I'll call if I need you. He kissed my forehead. The office door clicked shut. I sat at the head of the table. Poured myself water. And waited. The doorbell rang at 1:07. I opened the door. Mom stood there in a floral blouse she reserved for occasions she wanted to control. Behind her, Vanessa in a fitted dress, Oliver in a wrinkled button-down. And my father. Standing on my porch for the first time in 6 years. They stepped inside. I watched their faces. Mom stopped walking when she saw the entryway, the vaulted ceiling, the stone tile. Then the living room opened to the left. Kitchen to the right. Windows that went floor to ceiling. Mom's mouth opened. Closed. Claire, when did you? Vanessa said nothing. Her eyes moved across every surface like she was appraising property. Oliver scanned the room the way someone scans a menu. Looking for what he could take. Dad stood near the door. He hadn't made it past the entryway. I watched him look at the wall. At the marriage certificate. The date. May 16th. He stared at it for 3 full seconds. Then looked away. Mom started to speak. Something about how beautiful the house was. How proud she was. I cut her off. Sit down. Let's talk about why you're here. Mom folded her hands on the table. Her voice was steady, warm. Practiced. Family helps family, that's what we've always believed. She looked at me like she was chairing a board meeting. Oliver's been going through a difficult time, some financial decisions that didn't work out, it happens, but the numbers have gotten away from him. Financial decisions. Like he'd invested in a bad stock. Not bet 18,000 on a single game. We've all contributed, she continued. I gave from my retirement, 42,000, Vanessa gave 25, even your grandmother helped. She paused. Let the math land. The shortfall is 230,000, and we thought, since things seem to be going well for you and Daniel, maybe you could help. She said it without blinking. $230,000. At a dining table I'd owned for 6 hours. I picked up my notepad. Wrote 3 numbers, 42, 25, 15. Drew a line. Wrote, 230. What would the money go toward, specifically? Getting Oliver back on his feet, a fresh start. Obligations to whom? Beat. Oliver shifted in his chair. Various creditors, Mom said. I didn't write that down. I already knew it was a lie. Vanessa leaned forward. Claire, I know we haven't been great about things, but Oliver's in real trouble, and we're all just trying to help. She paused. Looked around the room. And I mean, look at this house, look at all this, 230,000 it's a lot for us, but for you? Not exactly what? I asked. I'm just saying, you married well, some of us aren't that lucky. The room went quiet. You married well. Some of us aren't that lucky. Like my degree didn't matter. Like the 2 jobs I worked through college were a footnote. Like the equity I earned as employee number 9 was an accident of marriage, not a decade of work. I set my pen down. I worked 2 jobs through school, graduated debt-free. I was employee number 9 at Daniel's company. I wrote code for the product that got acquired. Lucky isn't the word I'd use. Vanessa blinked. She had no response for that. I opened the folder. Before we continue, I said, I want to read something Oliver posted online 3 months ago. Oliver's head snapped up. What? I placed the printout on the table. Forum handle visible. Timestamp, May 16th. I read it aloud. Sister just married some startup guy. Once that money clears, I'm good. Silence. Oliver's face drained. Not embarrassed. Caught. Where did you get that? It doesn't matter. What matters is that while I was getting married in a courthouse with one friend as a witness, you were on the internet calculating what my marriage was worth to you. Mom reached for the paper. I let her read it. That's out of context. The context is that Oliver owes 230,000 in gambling debts, not investments, not bad luck, gambling, and he's been counting on my husband's money since before the deal even closed. Oliver stood halfway up. You don't understand the pressure. Sit down, Oliver. He sat. Dad spoke for the first time. Claire, let's all stay calm here, we're family. I turned to him. Dad, you left when I was 9. You didn't come to my high school graduation. You didn't come to my college graduation. You didn't come to my wedding. And now you're here, at my table, because Oliver needs money and someone thought your presence would add weight. He flinched. Looked down. I know I haven't been around. I'm trying. I'm not blaming you, I'm stating facts. The room was quiet. Dad had no leverage. And he knew it. Mom folded forward. Pressed her hands to her face. And cried. Not performative. Real. Jagged and low. I know I wasn't perfect, she said through her hands. I know I leaned on Vanessa more. I know I should have come to the courthouse. I should have been there. For a moment, I saw her. Not the director. Just a 61-year-old woman sitting in her daughter's dining room, realizing the math of her life wasn't adding up. Oliver is sick, she said. Gambling is an illness. He needs help. And if you can't do this for him, do it for me. I can't sleep. My retirement is gone. If you don't help, I'll have to sell the house. There it was. The pivot. From genuine pain to leveraged guilt. Her tears were real. But real tears and honest intentions aren't the same thing. She wasn't asking me to help Oliver. She was asking me to absorb the consequences of a problem she'd enabled for years. I'd seen this script before. And I was done running it. I stood. Walked to the counter. Picked up 4 white envelopes. Carried them back. Placed one in front of each person. Opened them. Mom's hands were still shaking. She opened hers first. Pulled out the single sheet of paper. I let the silence hold while they read. Before you finish, I said, I want to say one thing. They looked up. I sent 37 invitations to my wedding. Every single one came back declined. Not because you were busy, because Mom called the family and told them the wedding wasn't happening. Mom's face drained. Aunt Monica told me, 3 weeks after the wedding, she said you called and said I was rescheduling. Silence. So when you sit at my table and ask me for $230,000 because family helps family, I need you to understand that version of family doesn't exist. It never did. I sat back down. Now read the letter. They read. I watched their faces. The letter was 1 page. Clear, direct. I, Claire Cole, will not co-sign loans. I will not provide monetary gifts exceeding $100 per year. I will not absorb, refinance, or guarantee debt of any kind. Notary seal in the corner. My signature in black ink. Oliver threw his copy on the table. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious. Mom stared at the page. This is a legal document? Against your own family? This is a boundary, Mom, something you never taught me, so I taught myself. She set the paper down. Slowly. Like she was deciding what to do with the next sentence. Oliver stood. Hard. The chair tipped backward, hit the floor with a crack. You owe us. You lived rent-free until you were 18, Mom fed you, and now you sit in your mansion and think you're better than us? I didn't stand. I paid utilities from age 15, I have the receipts. Of course you have receipts. Perfect Claire with her receipts and her lawyer and her little piece of paper. I'm clear. You're cold. I'm clear. He stepped toward me. Footsteps upstairs. Then Daniel appeared at the railing. He didn't speak. He just stood there. Arms at his sides. Looking at Oliver. Oliver stopped. Looked up. Looked back at me. The math was simple. He was in someone else's house. Asking for money he had no right to. And her husband was watching. Oliver sat down. He didn't speak again. Vanessa had been quiet. Processing. When Oliver sat, she filled the space. You know what, Claire? You always acted like you were above us, like being quiet made you better. I moved out at 18 and paid my own way. That's not above, that's alone. And now you have all this and you can't even. She stopped. Finish that sentence. Pause. Help your own brother. I tried to invite my own family to my wedding. You moved your party to my date. The venue had availability all month. I checked. Vanessa's face changed. She hadn't expected me to check. That's not. It's exactly what happened. You saw the date, you chose it deliberately, and Mom helped you by telling everyone my wedding was postponed. Nobody contradicted me. The facts were there. Vanessa sat back. For the first time, she had nothing to say. Mom composed herself. Straightened. When you were little, I worked 3 jobs to keep a roof over your head. I didn't sleep for years, and this piece of paper, this is how you repay me. You worked 3 jobs. I am grateful, but gratitude isn't a blank check. She leaned forward. If you send us away with nothing, I will never speak to you again. The nuclear option. The threat she'd held over everyone for decades. I looked at her. Really looked. You didn't speak to me on my wedding day. You didn't speak to me for 7 weeks after. You spoke to me when you needed money, so with respect, Mom, that threat doesn't carry the weight you think it does. Her face crumbled. A flash of real recognition. Then she pushed it away. You'll regret this. Maybe, but I'll regret it on my own terms. Oliver left first. Grabbed his envelope. Walked out. The door slammed. Vanessa stood. Stopped in the entryway. Looked at the marriage certificate. You know, she said without turning around, that dress you wore? I saw Jordan's photo, $63. Pause. It actually looked beautiful. It was the most honest thing she'd ever said to me. And it came too late. She left. Dad stood slowly. Walked over. I'm sorry, Claire, for all of it. He didn't specify. Maybe he didn't know. He left. Mom was last. She stood at the table for a long moment. Then walked to the entryway. She stopped at the marriage certificate. Touched the edge of the frame. Stared at it. May 16th. My name. Daniel's name. She put her hand down. Straightened her blouse. And walked out without a word. The door clicked shut. The house was silent. Daniel came downstairs. Sat in the chair next to mine. Didn't ask what happened. He could read it in the room. It's done, I said. He took my hand. I reached into my wallet. The last invitation. Number 37. Cream cardstock, my handwriting. Slightly bent from months in my wallet. I looked at it. The date. The small heart I'd drawn next to our names because I'd thought that was what you did when you were happy. I folded it. Slipped it into the envelope that held my copy of the boundary statement. Old wound, meet new boundary. I wrote my own name on the front. Set it on the table. Are you okay? Daniel asked. I will be. He believed me. Because I'd never lied to him. Oliver entered court-mandated treatment in August. Not because of me. Because a creditor sued. Mom sold her house in September. Moved to a one-bedroom condo. Told the extended family I'd turned my back during their hardest time. Some believed her. Some didn't. 3 cousins reached out privately. Said variations of the same thing. I would have come if I'd known it wasn't postponed. I thanked them. I didn't say more. Vanessa texted once in October. 7 words, I shouldn't have moved the party, I'm sorry. I read it. I haven't responded yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I haven't decided. Dad sent a card on my birthday. Just a card. No money, no letter. Happy birthday, Claire, hope you're well, Dad. First birthday card in 20 years. I kept it. Daniel and I settled into the house. We host Jordan for dinners. We adopted a dog, a terrier mix named Biscuit who chewed 2 couch cushions in the first week. The marriage certificate still hangs in the entryway. Most mornings I walk past it without noticing. That feels right. People ask if I regret it. The courthouse. The letter. Not helping Oliver. I don't. My mother taught me one true thing, even if she never meant to. She said it on the phone the day Vanessa took my wedding date. She said it like a fact. Like a description of who I was and would always be. You're flexible, Claire, you've always been flexible. She was right. I was flexible enough to leave home at 18 and build a life from nothing. Flexible enough to marry the man I loved in a courthouse with one friend and feel no shame about it. Flexible enough to sit across from 4 people who erased my wedding and hand them a document that said, in clear language, that I was done. And flexible enough to know that walking away wasn't cruelty. It wasn't revenge. It was the first honest thing I'd ever done for myself. 37 invitations. 1 courthouse. 4 envelopes. And a marriage certificate that cost $18, hanging in the entryway of a house I built with my own hands. That's not a sad story. That's a boundary.